I am not your failure, Obi-Wan.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Sir James, coming at you guys with another lightsaber video, and today we have a Anakin Skywalker inspired lightsaber which features an exposed kyber crystal chamber and rotating kyber crystal components, which is quite nice. And the reason why I say inspired is because there are some little differences between this and Anakin Saber, just so you are aware. Now, this particular hilt is made by TXQ. They are the company who made this hilt, and I did obtain this lightsaber from ArtSabers.com, which I'll have a link in the video description down below. And yes, if you are curious, I did pick up the new C-3PO head over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and
oh no! I'm so confused.
And we'll do one more here.
We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life.
That thing's really cool, and yes, there will be a review here on this channel for you to check out. But for now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this hilt. So for this particular hilt, there are two different color options. The one that I got here is the chrome finish, but it also comes in black. It was really hard to pick between the two, but I figured since a lot of people are more common to Anakin Saber and of course the chrome finish, I decided to go ahead and get this. If I were to go back in time, I probably would opt in to get the black one just because it looks really, really nice. So first off, we'll start from the bottom, just kind of work from the basics. You do have, of course, a CoverTech wheel to go ahead and clip this onto a belt. Some nice grips here with a rubberized finish. You do have a control box here, and the reason why I say Anakin inspired is because there are some little differences here. For example, this control box is a little bit extra lengthy. Around the control box, you do have Arabish, which one says you underestimate my power, and the other one says I have the high ground. So the conflict between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Pretty neat. Now, up here towards the top, you have the upper portion of the emitter, which is, yes, a bit longer than how it should be, probably to incorporate the motorized components and things like that. And you also notice that it doesn't have the jewel piece here on the top here, but it has all the other details. So here we have metal components for the crystal chamber, and this features, let's see, I should have done the black because of the glossiness. It does feature two kyber crystals, which you saw in the thumbnail, which I'll showcase in just a moment, and there's rotating parts in here as well. As for the blade, it's going to be using a 7/8 blade with one retention screw located here. And that's pretty much it. This is a 2-button function, one button here and one button here on this control box, simple as that. So what do I mean about the crystal chamber? Well, here's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and activate in 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, we have crystal there, and rotating components. Really, really cool. Now, of course, you'll notice one crystal is blue, the other crystal is red. Now, if you are curious, can you program that or change the colors in any kind of way? And the answer is no. By default, one crystal will always be blue, and the other crystal will always be red, regardless of what saber font you do or what kind of customizations you do with Prophy. That's the main design purpose of this hilt. Now, of course, if you do need to take this apart to charge it, you're just going to go ahead and unscrew the pommel section here, which is going to be this big old grip section. And once you take this apart, you have, of course, your removable chassis located right here. Now, the interesting thing about this particular one is due to the fact that it's got a small battery, actually a lot smaller compared to the normal 1860 or 1850 battery. But of course, you do have a USB-C charging port there and a kill switch as well. So it's pretty cool to see these include more kill switches. I think those are nice to have, so when you're not using your lightsaber, the battery isn't like slowly being consumed, unless of course you just remove the battery entirely. So it's good to see that more of those are being included, and hopefully that continues to go on. But just a little bit weird for a small battery, because normally you know, the battery's about this size, which is a 18650, you know, roughly about this. But obviously the one in here is a lot smaller than that, about half the size. As to why, I'm not entirely sure, but you know, it is what it is. You'd figure, well, I don't really know how it's going to be power-wise or how long that type of battery is going to last. But anywho, let's go ahead and bring over a blade. Now again, because this is done up by TXQ, by default this will include the basic Saber font package through TXQ, unless if you go through another individual who paid extra to get certain extra things, which I'm not going to mention the person here, of course. But let's go ahead and put this all together. Now, as far as the feel of the Saber, it actually feels nice in the hands. It doesn't feel... It's not really, honestly, heavy at all, nor is it super light or relatively light. It's like a lightish medium, give or take, but nothing too crazy and out of the ordinary. So we're going to go ahead and now turn that off and turn this on. Now again, with Prophy by default it comes of course with all the accessories as you would expect. It comes with the blade and stand and all that fun stuff. It comes with over 20 lightsaber fonts. It's got just the controls by default. For example, I just did a twist on and a twist off. So let me go ahead and show you a closer look with of course the blade active, with of course the crystal chamber. So here it is from the distance. Like I said, you will always constantly get that blue and always get that red. Now, for those of you who are kind of curious about the cutout, whether or not if the cutout has any significance, I don't even know if I said that correctly, words that I have not used before. Whether or not the cutout has any form of importance, I'm not entirely sure. If I had to take a guess here, and again, I'm just, you know, spitballing here. I didn't really look that deep into it, to be quite honest. The cutout kind of reminds me of Vader's helmet. You know, like the time where Ahsoka sliced his helmet open during the Star Wars Rebels arc. And then there's also another one with Obi-Wan versus Vader during the Obi-Wan show, things like that. You know, maybe it's just kind of like the struggle between the good and evil side of Anakin. Again, I'm just, you know, spitballing little ideas here, but that could be what the cutout is meant to represent. Now, I will say that the cutout is, of course, clean. One of the things that I think would have been cool as an offering, even though it's not an offering already, is kind of cool if there was like a weathered option and then have more scarring and stuff where the cutout is. I think that would be pretty cool. But you can kind of give me your thoughts on that one. So again, back to this one being on. Now, the cutout here doesn't really get in the way as far as swinging goes. Obviously, I just wouldn't go jamming your finger in there because you don't want to ruin the motors or anything like that. So just kind of use caution there. But by default, I don't think you're really gonna, you know, accidentally bump into it. And we're gonna go ahead and cycle through some of the fonts here.
General Kenobi.
So here's how this looks with the red blade. Pretty nice. See, I believe this was, if I remember correctly.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him. Stretch out with your feelings.
Now, because on some of these Saber fonts, they have, like when you press the button and twist while the Saber is active, it will sometimes have a force effect. And some other ones, I forget which, but like this one, for example, does. It's got quotes and stuff from, you know, the original trilogy. Ooh.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him.
Always nice.
Tell me, is this training?
My training? No. Always training, the universe is.
And here's how this one looks with a green if you want to incorporate Anakin's son. Definitely looks better with the blue or red in my opinion.
You've killed enough!
Now this one's also got quotes on here, including the unlimited power. See if I can get it to say it, hopefully.
Let me help you to know the subtleties of the Force. I am the Senate. Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? I am the Senate.
I feel like the unlimited power phrase is like, sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. There we go. I'm glad he said it in this video, otherwise I would have kept doing that and to the point where it never happens. Now I will mention that while the color of the crystals do not change, light up effects within the crystal chamber will of course go with the effect of whatever is happening with the Hilts. So for example, we are on a pod racer saber font, so there's a lot of like strobing type effects, and I'm going to show you that with the crystal chamber here of that happening. So here we go. So much so that even on this particular one, it makes the motors actually stop here, which is quite interesting. But this is the only one where it will go, but then the motors will stop, but you will kind of see the light up effect. So it almost makes, like this particular font, I don't know if it's that case, where it kind of like tricks the saber into thinking that it's not really on anymore. But a little bit weird. That's the only one that I've seen it happen to.
What do you want? Electric.
So yeah, that one works just fine. So never get tired of that. Go ahead and reactivate the light here. So overall, it's a definitely pretty neat saber. Like I said, there are two color options. There is the silver one that I have here for review, but there's also one in black. Again, if I had to go back and choose, I probably would have opt for the black version, just because it's very clean. It's not a glossy black finish to it. It's a matte black. And I feel like, you know, over time, if that were to get scratched and scuffed, it's going to show a lot more on the black version, which will probably add a little bit more to my likings of it. You know, I could probably scuff out the edges a little bit more to make it more noticeable and damage and things like that. I just feel like there's a lot more room for customization and things of that nature, in my opinion. But overall, again, it is a fun hilt. It is not super heavy. Again, there are going to be some little inaccuracies and additions. Again, you got the whole Arabish quotes here. Again, you underestimate my power and I have the high ground. Again, the saber is a little bit longer. Kind of a little comparison to here. Ooh, this is not the collector's one. This is just like a default TXQ Anakin. Nothing too particular crazy, just so that we can kind of see a little of the difference there. You can see this one is longer. It doesn't have the jewel piece on the front there. All you have is the little retention screw. That's pretty much it. I am curious as to why the jewel piece isn't there. I feel like it could have been added, or maybe the saber could have maintained its original shape. But then again, I don't really know what goes into, you know, the rotating kyber crystal chamber and things like that, as far as wires and cables and such. Maybe they needed that extra space, or maybe this is just a learning curve for future releases and whatnot. But again, you can let me know your opinions down below. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next video upload. I still got plenty of awesome hilts to share with you guys. I'm also going to be getting a hilt from Dark Wolf Sabers, a really cool new release as well. The Arcane, something like, starts with an A nonetheless. But until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and always remember, may the Force be with you.